We are rolling on Oops All Tangents episode something.
Should be what, like, I don't know, who
4?
cares?
I think it's 4.
4. This is episode 6 of the podcast, but we started after the reboot with episode 3, so it should be episode 4 of Oops All Tangents.
Yeah. Now available on Doormaster TV.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're donating at the correct amount or you have your Patreon linked, you can access it on the actual website now.
Cool.
It just shows up with all the other ones on the podcast page. So welcome wherever you happen to be listening to it on. How's everybody doing? We just watched a weird thing.
We did watch a weird thing.
So I just forced them to watch the new Death Stranding trailer that just came out today, which will tell you when this is released, or which is when this is recorded, which is weird, but so I am in love with Hideo Kojima, like irrevocably, and
This is why you like to repo.
yes, actually, it's not that far. There's like really well done. What's the word? Trash is like super good.
I remember telling my brother that Kyle didn't like repo, but that you did, and Kyle said, "Well, that's not fair. Ian is a connoisseur of trash."
Trash art.
I think this is why Reed and I get along.
Ian, you're like there's levels. Like I think I like more trashy art than you do.
You're a trash enthusiast. I only like the
Okay.
finest trash. You have a much deeper tolerance for it.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Same
fair.
is
I
true
can
of
see that.
Aaron. Shout out to Aaron having the deepest, most
No,
interesting
Aaron
trash
is-
art sense of anyone
Aaron is a
I've
trash
ever
fanatic.
So I think what I learned is that clearly the constraints of Metal Gear Solid were holding Hideo Kojima back
Well, you can-
from his true potential.
You can see there's certain themes, right? Like he's obsessed with warfare.
And
usually old
only
warfare.
in America.
Like, American politics, but American politics. It's one of my favorite things about Metal Gear Solid is it's American politics, but it's not really any commentary on them because it's like somebody put American politics into Google Translate, translated to Japanese. Hideo Kojima responded in German, translated that into Japanese, and then translated it into English.
Yeah.
And just like there's no valid commentary to be had. I mean, so there's the one overriding in nukes bad, which Japan kind of has a
Nuke's
thing
bad,
about.
yeah. Yeah.
Like in general, Japan's not a big fan of nukes,
Yeah.
and that's consistent. And also, warfare is sucky. Like
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4, they stopped using real gun names because they didn't want to pay licenses to arms manufacturers.
Oh,
Interesting.
that makes sense.
So like a lot of the Metal Gear Solid like ethos is this weird tension between he's a soldier and it's a military spec ops game, but also that's all bad.
Interesting. I'm excited to play this thing hopefully sooner rather than later now that we're kind of going to have more free time on our hands.
Right,
Which
I'm
thing?
Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, right, metal. Yeah.
I'm looking out for themes of reproduction and child's because of the children in this one and how Snake can't have babies.
So it's interesting because
Ooh.
I didn't get any thematic anything from the babies. They definitely show up a lot, but it
So-
didn't look like it was like thematically important.
Well, they're like
Oh,
the
it
bridge
definitely
to
is.
something else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so
have to plug in to survive.
Yeah, so
and
what
see
I
the
got was that
monsters.
they're using babies to power the most terrifying form of time travel I've ever seen. Is that what-
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think because this required this, Sony did put out a statement that describes a little bit more what the game's about.
Okay.
oh wow.
Let me see if I can find that. It's
Can you read it in a cool voice, please?
I can do my Snake voice.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a cool
please.
voice.
Also, I remember like the rain is deadly or something from the past in the other
It's
trailer.
called the Time Fall, and it ages things. It was basically like, so you see the crow falls and it's all. Right.
Oh.
And so this is
Unless you plug into a baby.
yeah.
Okay, I got that. I got
Renews
that.
your-
They're the
renew-
youngest thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
People have built
Sure.
walls and become accustomed to living in isolation. Death Stranding is a completely new type of action game, true, where the player's goal is to reconnect isolated cities in a fragmented society. All elements, including the story and gameplay, are bound together by the theme of strand, or connection. As Sam Porter bridges, you will attempt to bridge these divisions, and in doing so, create new bonds or strands with other players around the globe. Through your experience playing the game, I hope you'll come to understand the true importance of forging connections with others.
Makes sense.
So there's like a weird multiplayer aspect to it too.
So-
Is that what it's saying?
I think it's kind of like a From Software that's the Dark Souls people.
Yeah.
It's
where you,
asynchronous
like, leave
online.
clues for each
It's-
other or
it's,
whatever.
Something that you do will be in some way connected to other people's single player game experiences.
Okay.
Which is something that's kind of true in Metal Gear Solid 5. You had a forward operating base that other people could raid, and you occasionally had to go and defend it. And so they're big on like multiplayer kind of.
So that didn't clarify anything.
I think it makes more sense now.
I mean, it's that. How could you see that trailer and not think this is about the power of friendship?
No, I mean that they had all kinds of bridge stuff, and I don't remember the name on the boxes, but it said bridge. Is that what it said on the boxes?
Bridges is the name of the organization he works for.
Yeah, so
His name
it's
is
about bridge building.
Sam Porter. I mean, it's because he's a FedEx guy.
So we got to think about stranding in a different way than usual. In a sense, cities are all stranded, but it's the strands that connect them through the game. So that's cool. That's
other
a
thing about
double entendre or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
So
Okay.
Death
meaning.
Stranding is a term that refers to whales that beach themselves.
Oh.
It's like people think it's underwater sonar that drives them crazy, so they go and like beach themselves. There's a reference to BTs in the trailer, which stands for beached things.
Oh.
So there's some sort of it's definitely a play on the word strand.
Interesting.
Okay.
And this is also something that every single Metal Gear Solid game has a word. Like for instance, Metal Gear Solid 2's word was meme. Before memes were a thing.
Oh.
He's talking about Dawkinsian memes, like genetic memes.
Oh. Okay.
Side note, Hideo Kojima doesn't understand genetics, and it's amazing.
I have an important note.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with this.
that's fine.
My brother listened to the What Makes a Great Hero podcast.
Uh-huh.
And Villain. Sorry, What Makes a Great Villain. And the first thing out of his mouth was, Thanos was definitely blue before. He was like, so Thanos was blue. First he texted me, said he loved it so much and that it was really great. And he was listening to all of them with Katie. And then the next thing he said was, so Thanos was blue before and Rachel was right.
Thank you. Thank you,
He's
Thomas.
still wrong, but I'll respect him.
No, I mean, he was 100%
He was
blue.
bluer in the early stuff, but Thanos has always been purple. In the comics, the Thanos copter was probably purple. Do you see the theory that his giant double-edged sword was meant to be like helicopter blades?
Yeah, I did actually
What?
see that. Yeah,
So Thanos copter made it in,
I did see
along
that.
with Howard the Duck.
Jeez.
Right.
But not Daredevil. So
Right, we can talk about that in the main podcast. That's fine.
that's a good point. That is what we're going to be talking about.
About what?
Marvel stuff. Just Daredevil will come up because we're talking about the
Surprise.
future of Marvel.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that definitely threw us off our tangent. But it's good to know that one person listened and liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Let us know if you listen and like it.
Well, now that it's on YouTube, we have like full comments and stuff now too.
there was one comment on the one, like, what does a love interest say about the main character, whatever, or hero? And one comment said, what I learned from listening to this was that they don't say anything and that I should never care about this again.
Right, so I've been ignoring love interest, and I was right. And it's like,
Yeah. We got there at the very end. Something about developing male characters well. It was there.
Oh,
It
yeah,
surprised us.
I saw the one that mentioned that we never talked about Superman, and I think that makes sense because it's the
What is
Superman
there to
problem.
say?
So Superman's one of the longest running comic series in a long, it's the first superhero, right? Mm-hmm. And I know there's stuff, I just don't read them. That's my
Yeah.
problem. I know they have storylines. I know people can handle Superman well. I just don't know what that is.
We'll
You
bring
know-
in a DC guest in the future.
Yeah, that's true. We should.
Philip is a good DC guest.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, he
That'd be
likes
fun.
Batman.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, but
Which-
his brother embodies Superman, so they have this brother duality, Batman
Interesting.
Superman thing going on. So he's really expert.
We probably should get some DC
Yeah.
representation on the
Yeah.
show at some point because none of
Probably.
us really like the DC characters.
I cosplayed as Catwoman, so I know everything about DC.
Did you see the new Batwoman trailer?
oh my god!
No.
Batwoman trailer?
It's so bad.
Can we talk about how Robert Pattinson is now Batman?
Yeah, we can.
yes, yes.
Let's talk about it.
I think I texted Kyle, and the first thing I said was like, the
Oh,
universe is you'll never guess who's playing an important character in the new Batman movie. Like plot line is getting really lazy.
Finally,
is wrong
someone
with these people? What are
finally
they
someone
doing?
with the right jawline, though.
You're
Right,
so
right.
it's like Robert Pattinson's current jawline is like hella Frank Miller Batman, just like.
Oh, yeah, that's
but
true.
It actually makes sense because every single time he spoke in Twilight, it was just kind of this low gravelly thing that everybody was like, "What
Well,
the
that's
hell's
true.
wrong with you?"
The
Yeah.
thing
Which
with
is how you
Batman
should
is
react to
always
Batman
it's
better.
never who's playing Batman, it's who's playing Bruce Wayne, right? Because Batman
Yeah.
is show no emotion, have a chin, you're good to go. Like
Right.
almost everyone they've cast to play Batman can effectively play Batman. That's
think-
not the issue.
Sorry.
I think Christian Bale is actually one of the worst in terms of
Do
just, like,
you?
actual Batman. Like he's still the best of the best movies, and I think he'd pull it off. But like, if I had to judge by their chin and their ability to have a gravelly voice, he's not high on my list.
That's fair.
I think Robert Pattinson is a good choice.
Me too.
It took, like, when
I
it
can
was
see it.
first, because the first thing everybody thinks of is Edward, but he hates that role.
Well, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
I
he's-
think
you know
it's
what,
the
he's-
only time I've ever seen him act though, and he was not great in it.
You know what? He was in a movie. He was in a really good movie about being a soldier with PTSD from 9/11,
Oh, interesting.
and it was a good movie. It was like a solid B plus.
I feel like he would act the exact same way as he did in Twilight, though.
Yes, he does, but it worked in that,
Yeah,
and I
sure.
think it could totally work for Batman.
I can see that.
actually.
The problem is,
Like-
like in Twilight, every single scene he's in is like it's a train wreck in terms of chemistry. It's just like it's Kristen Stewart being there, kind of like, which I will still argue is like the perfect Bella Swan.
No.
But and then it's just him going, and then they just kind of like make noises back and forth.
I thought that
And you have-
I like their dynamic, and I thought that he did a great job of playing her.
and then
Playing him.
And then you have Anna
Yeah.
Kendrick in like 3 scenes, and that's weird.
Yeah, but then you have Jacob, who's like, "Hey."
Right.
They
I-
just mumble at each other, and Jacob's like, "Bella, why don't you like me?" And Bella's like, "Ugh."
Seriously, guys, this Batwoman trailer is the most atrocious thing you've ever seen.
Is this like an in-universe, like a DCU Batwoman?
It's a show.
Did you
yeah.
guys ever watch Orange Is the New Black?
I know about
No.
Okay,
Is it
so
one of those actors?
So the first season of Orange Is the New Black was like good because it
Yeah.
was like revolutionary and stuff. The second season was slightly worse, and then the third season I think it's the third season, they introduced a new character who's the actress Ruby Rose.
it.
Okay.
She's like
yeah.
a really cute lesbian, I think.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, who's got like amazing hair. Like those are the things she's known for. She's Batwoman.
Okay.
Interesting. I
And
googled that.
the trailer was just like really like I'm a woman.
It is. They try really like they lean way too far in entirely the wrong direction on the feminist stuff.
DC? No.
Like real bad. So much worse than Wonder Woman though. Like it's.
Yeah. Well,
Wonder
I
Woman-
wish I could remember some of the lines she
Like,
said in the trailer.
I will say, like, Wonder Woman was a really good attempt. And
It actually was. Wonder Woman's
I remember.
okay on that
I remember
area.
one of the lines. So he shows her the Batman suit, and she looks at it, and she's like, I'm gonna need that, and he was like, what? No, and she was like, you need to. He said, no, the suit is perfect, and she says, it will be on a woman.
When it fits
Cut.
a woman, that's what she said. So it was just.
Okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem with that whole line of thinking. If you put bat nipples on a female suit, it's lewd.
It's not lewd.
Totally
Nipples aren't
unacceptable.
lewd.
Bat nipples are. It doesn't matter which. They're
Bats are mammals. They have nipples.
Yeah, Kyle.
Get over it.
Quit mammal nipple shaming.
They're literally mammals. Memory, mammal.
Anything that has nipples that isn't a mammal, we should be scared of.
I'm searching bat nipples now.
The trailer
Are
was
you?
also just horribly edited. It was just.
Oh, I can imagine.
It
It was
very
awful
long.
in every possible. It looks so bad.
That's a shame.
Like I thought Supergirl looked like a bad show, but it was bad in like one of those like
People like it.
forgettable kind of ways.
Right, I thought
This
Supergirl was
was-
supposed to be like fine.
We found this one on our cringe. Like it was just posted
Oh,
straight
no.
to there.
Oh no.
Supergirl reminds me a lot of Glee.
Okay, I can see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
actually, yeah.
So-
it's a
Right on
decent-
that level, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
tone.
hokey
Whoa.
and kind of weird and dumb and.
And it
really
ran for a few
colorful.
seasons, so I guess the people that like DC shows
Right.
liked it.
I
I don't know.
But people
I-
also
I've
like
heard-
The Flash, and Reed told me about The Flash, and that sounds awful. So
I heard about the Flash.
What's that?
I said I heard about the Flash.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mostly what I know about is what Ricky said is like he solved the problem by running faster than he's ever run before. it's like the Goku problem, but less interesting.
yeah,
Wiki solves every problem that way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what he does.
kinda
So
It's like I like the concept of speedsters. What I really like is I like speedsters. I like the scenes that speedsters create.
yeah,
I don't really like them. I mean, as far as characters go, like,
right.
like,
Yeah.
but
Well, I hate Batman.
I have
Wow.
an
I just
important
hate
announcement.
Batman. Oh yeah.
Bats have nipples in their armpits. And some male bats can lactate.
This
You've
is an
been
important
blessed with
announcement.
science.
You've been blessed with science.
I
Rachel,
I
can that be
stand
your
by
new,
my
like-
previous statements.
I feel like that's a great tagline for you.
You've been blessed with science.
That's what science. I love that actually. Can we turn those into t-shirts?
Can we
Yeah,
please?
I want the bumper sticker.
I want that. I want that with a little Rachel like a head bobble at the
oh,
top.
I
Me
Aw,
too.
nice.
Yeah, I would totally wear that. That's amazing.
Thanks
We'll
for
have to add that
marketing
to our
me, guys.
store.
Yeah, I
Just
love
for the 3 people that listen to this podcast.
That's all 3 of us buying that shirt.
how long has this gone on, by the way? How do we,
We're fine. Only 15 minutes so far.
oh, good. That
Okay.
means we have more time talking about Metal Gear Solid.
Oh wait, real quick. We saw Aladdin and it's good, and people should go watch it and not decide they hate it before they go
I
watch
don't
it
know.
like half the internet
I told
did.
the Discord, and they were like, "No, it's bad." And I,
got-
was like, "You haven't seen it," and they're
I'm
like,
so
"It's
mad
gonna
at everybody
be bad."
that says that it's bad, especially the people who didn't see it and say that it's bad before they went
So
and saw it.
I've seen none of the live action remakes. 0 of them.
Wow.
I've seen 2.
And I hear, because I heard what they did. They do Cinderella.
Yes.
Did
they do
Wait, was that
Cinderella?
Disney?
Yeah,
though?
Cinderella's the only one I've seen, and I liked it.
It
And
was,
I know
and
they
Disney
did
did
Beauty
it?
and
Yeah,
the
it
Beast.
Beauty and the Beast was great. I saw that one.
Was Cinderella the one they got mad about for the waist? Her waist
Maybe.
being too small. It was the blonde girl in the big blue dress.
Yeah, that was Cinderella.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
And then what I heard about Beauty and the Beast is it really depends on how much you like the original Beauty and the Beast because it's basically the same thing.
I
is
have
shot
a
for
theory
shot.
personally, which is it depends entirely on the source material.
Yeah.
I think Aladdin was good because Aladdin was good, the original one.
Uh-huh.
Same with Beauty and the Beast, because if you compare it, like, they just made Dumbo recently, and it didn't do well. I assume they put as much care into that one as they did into Aladdin, but Dumbo sucks. Nobody likes
Right.
Dumbo. If your favorite Disney movie is Dumbo, you're wrong, and you need to rethink your life.
Dumbo? Is that...
Aladdin is like not as good as I remember from my childhood. I have not seen the new one, but there's a lot of like weird racist stuff.
Yes,
and
they fixed
also
all that.
Yes.
Yay,
Actually,
that's
kinda like
good.
they're starting to shoot Mulan, but it won't be anything like the Mulan.
Right,
we know.
yeah. Even
Okay,
Aladdin, though, like, they
interesting.
kept all the good stuff. They changed things, but they changed. I haven't seen it in forever. I didn't see it again before I went and saw the new one. Rewatching it, all the parts that I do remember were familiar, and they changed, like, so Jasmine is a person. They actually gave her a character and a
That's good.
personality and, like, a story that makes her a human being. They removed most of the outstanding racist stuff, as far as I could tell. Some people have disagreed because mostly on like a cultural appropriation argument. So it's much lighter of a disagreement at
there's
this
like,
point.
I mean, there,
Right.
it wasn't really a culture appropriation argument. It was like,
No, originally
wow,
it was
you just
just
hate everybody from Arabia.
It was
was
just
just
like
racist
caricature.
boom, Orientalism back from the 1800s to get you in a
Right.
Disney
Which, to
movie
be fair,
film.
it's like, I mean, so to be fair, it's not fair. This is with the original, like, like Aladdin, like the whatchamacallit it?
Arabian Nights.
The Arabian Nights, like
Oh.
source, like from like Richard Burton came back and translated. It was super orientalized in a
we
really
were
bad
looking
way.
that up, and it was originally like a Chinese like story or something that just sort of got like.
Okay, hang
Oh, it
on.
was?
So people started getting mad because everyone, I believe everyone cast in it is
Arabic
Arab.
of some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
except for Jasmine, who is half Indian, half white, the actress.
Yeah.
So she's Indian, and so people were all like, couldn't they just find an Arab actress? Which, like, I get. However, she is, one, phenomenal in it, and two, an amazing actress, so I understand to
Right.
some degree why they probably ended up picking
I mean,
her.
You said that it was kind of like Bollywood light, right?
Yeah.
It's
So they're,
Bollywood
like-
light, yeah.
like they're-
Which
So
was
there are
people also had
Indian
a problem,
cultural
'cause-
influences?
but
They're picking up on Indian something, yeah.
Yeah.
and so people were really upset. However, there was like I looked into it a little bit to figure out like the origins of Aladdin and the actress herself. And the origins of Aladdin are predominantly Chinese.
So I know about this mostly through Sir Richard Burton, who is like he's one of the most classicists, quote unquote. Back when this didn't mean like Greece and Rome, but like he was like this is like Lawrence of Arabia is based on this person.
Right.
And so the idea is like he came back with a story from the Middle East, which and now
Right.
that it could trace back to China because of course the Middle East had trade dealings with China when nobody else did.
My understanding of it is so it was based off the song. It was based off a story, which was translated to 1,000 Arabian Nights through
Right.
through French. French translated it from what I think was Middle Eastern culture. I can't remember which one, but
This
then
one-
the story itself draws from Indian culture, Jewish culture, Arab culture, Chinese culture, and then as the story grew, the Chinese culture basically like adopted it, so to say, and then a lot of the different like translational errors within the story are actually different Chinese towns. Like Aladdin, like when described, is mostly like a Chinese setting. Anyway, yeah. So for I think like I don't know, most of it's like predominant history. It's a mainly Chinese story.
But it was a big mix, I think, is the important thing.
It's
to
a bunch
the-
of different cultures.
The baseline Wikipedia description here is 1001 Nights is a collection of Middle Eastern folktales compiled in Arabic during the Islamic Golden Age.
there you go.
And it's the work was collected over many centuries by various authors, translators, and scholars across West, Central, and South Asia and North Africa. Some tales themselves trace their roots back to ancient and medieval Arabic, Persian, Indian, Greek, Jewish, and Turkish folklore and literature.
Interesting.
Haven't mentioned anything about China yet. I mostly know.
I think Aladdin is supposed to be the Chinese story. Like Aladdin is supposed to be the Chinese like fairy tale folklore kind of thing, and Arabian Nights is supposed to be the story that it's like based off of.
Some of the stories commonly associated with the Knights, in particular Aladdin's Wonderful Lamp, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, and the 7 Voyages of Sinbad the Sailor, were not part of the original collection, but were added to the collection by Antoine Galland and other European translators.
Okay. So there were just extra bits from other places that got stuck in.
So yeah, it seems like it's basically like an Asian hodgepodge sort of deal.
Yeah.
If, you know,
Which they actually, I think, make pretty clear in the movie because the location is fictional. It's
Right.
not a real thing. It's a caricaturization, like, even more than, like, Civ characterizes things of just a Middle Eastern place. And at one point they even have, I think in the original movie they also have the first prince that shows up wanting to impress her or whatever, and it doesn't work. In this one, they have him. He's like like from faux Sweden or something.
Yeah.
Like he's got a super thick accent, and I can't remember where what.
Some Scandinavian country.
Yeah, he says where he's from, and it's not a real place, but it sounds vaguely Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Like so, the whole thing is they've like caricaturized different pieces of the world. And
I can
so
see
it's-
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This has an interesting connection to Magic the Gathering. So Magic
Oh
the
yeah,
Gathering.
they do the same thing a lot.
Well,
don't they?
I mean, they do, but like, so they didn't used to. And so Magic the Gathering is the first tradable, collectible card game, right? The very first actual TCG. And so they introduced the concept of a booster expansion, right? Like, not just the same cards you start with, but we're printing a whole new card. Their first expansion was called Arabian Nights.
Oh.
It involves things like Aladdin as a card.
Okay.
And, like, things like this. So later on, when they have a more consistent story, right? Like, this is all the multiverse and these are all different planes, they go back and retcon it. And what turns out, this all took place on a plane called Rabaya. So
Yeah.
it's Arabian Nights, Arabian Nights. They kind of try and like, they try and like backtrack on it.
Yeah.
It's very funny because it doesn't work at all.
The place they're in is Agrabah, right?
Agrabah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's described kind of as like a, not in the movie, but I think in the movie they call it a cultural hub of sorts, like in
Sure.
New York,
That's,
like
that's
people.
a good idea.
Yeah,
that's
they
any-
like people from everywhere gathered to it. It's like that is where people meet to kind of like sell things, and it's the city to
Historically,
be in.
Yeah, this is how it always works. Like, so Babylon is probably the first city to ever had 1 million residents.
Oh, okay.
And it's I remember reading an article that was talking about how, so this was specifically about involving Rome. Shocker, reading an article about Rome. But the idea was like people were always decrying that Rome was sort of a tourist city, right? But then you look at it, what happens is Rome probably started out as a small trading hub because it's right next to a river. And then so it's just a place where different cultures like cross paths, right? And then they just sort of like, so really the idea is it was always a tourist city. It was always a place for different people to come and visit with each other, kind of. This is like how giant world cities have always been. It's just basically a place to exchange like different things from different major cultures, and you just kind of things build up around that.
Huh.
Right.
Well, it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Like
It's
they
good.
really did justice to the genie, to the songs, to the visuals.
The only thing I really had concerns with after seeing the trailers was Jafar. Jafar seemed really unimpressive to me.
That was the only thing that we think they maybe didn't do great on. It still wasn't bad. At
Sure.
worst, it was just kind of okay on Jafar.
It really stood out in a movie full of amazing things that
Yeah,
Jafar
that's
was
kinda-
not
yeah.
up to
This
par
is-
with
it's
all the
kinda
other
like
amazing things.
The live action quote unquote thing I'm really looking forward to is Lion King still.
Yeah.
And it's, it
interested.
really what.
I'm interested.
It super struck me because the guy they have playing Scar is Chiwetel Ejiofor, who played the operative in Serenity, and he's one of my
Oh, yeah.
favorite actors in the entire world. But I felt like something was missing, and it's because it wasn't Jeremy Irons.
Oh yeah.
Which, and now this makes sense because they're trying really. There was clearly a concerted effort to make sure that all the primary cast was black, which I think is
Right.
important because it's Africa, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
we don't need to whitewash that. But that said, once you have Jeremy Irons in a role, it's super hard to not have Jeremy Irons
Yeah.
in that role.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we have a request to do a Black Panther podcast because
saw that.
we all fall on different spectrums of it, of like to dislike.
I'm still unsure about doing 4 white people talk about Black Panther, but we we guess we could.
I guess that's fair.
I think if we do a long disclaimer at the beginning.
I think the disclaimer should be we're 4 white people.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be the
disclaimer is
disclaimer.
Yeah.
That'll be the title. There you go.
We
Yeah,
do have a new list we're working on though of things
Really?
to work on moving forward, which I think will be good. I have
Do we ditch our old list entirely?
no, we just
Don't-
haven't found it. It's just somewhere in the house.
Oh.
We have to find it somewhere.
I'll find it.
A new one that we came up with was doing one on anti-heroes and sort of like
Okay.
their value or effect on people.
That's
I'm
interesting.
really not an anti-hero fan, so I'll be.
I'm not super anti-hero fan either, so I'm
You
kind
are
of
one though. It's
Huh?
well, you're an anti-villain. It's different.
Right. No,
Right. Most of my anti-hero knowledge comes from video games, so it'll be kind of interesting
Yeah.
to bring that
Okay.
back in.
Well, but it's weird too because I would also consider Daredevil kind of in the anti-hero range, so it's
100%
like
is 100% the anti-hero range.
That's interesting because he's typically especially from the comics perspective, he's always been considered one of the strictly lawful good heroes,
Right.
Along with Spider-Man.
but he dresses as Satan and then also punches people with the power of God's justice. So like there's a little bit of it
the
in there.
definition of lawful good. Kyle.
Murdoch boys have the
Jesus
devil
drove
inside
the
them.
moneylenders out of the temple with a whip. Violence is okay as long as it's God's violence. Read some Psalms.
I would say Jesus might be an anti-hero.
Psalms, they're all like, God, crush my enemies. God, grind my enemies into dust. There's a lot of like Jehovah violence and
Those are emotions.
Jesus an anti-hero?
This is for a later podcast. We shouldn't talk about it yet.
in terms of the state religion of Rome, Jesus is the
5 minutes.
biggest anti-hero.
Whoa. Whoa.
Again.
But then it also comes down to like anti-hero versus just straight up vigilante. This is what
It's
the
a good
podcast will be
topic, it's a good
about.
topic.
Oh, yeah.
Preview
yeah.
for the future podcast.
I agree.
Let's see. I still want to do one of my writing tropes.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's different writing rules
And
and
I can,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
can finally get a good definition of Clara Trap down.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I've been working on them. I have some good examples of my other ones.
If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments of Superhero Chicken Fest and not this one because there isn't really a good way to leave comments on this podcast.
Does our website still not do comments?
It does. It's just not great. It's the website. So Louis really great at all the development part,
Yeah.
but we don't have anybody specifically good at the styling yet. I'm okay at it when I have the time to do it,
Yeah.
but I don't ever. So we have to get somebody to actually. At some point, the plan is to take some of the leftover Skyvault money that's still there and just spend a little bit of it over the course of a month on people, just on like a small team to come in and just fix the whole thing,
Right.
just all at once.
Just like Queer Eye the website, just like
Just make it all, just make it all work instantly.
Just unleash the gays. Is that what you're saying?
for the computer gays. I don't.
That was
I,
weird.
The computer,
The computer
games.
gaze.
hey, speaking of that other thing, what's going on with Skyvault?
We only have like 2 minutes.
It's like a parabolic curve that gets ever closer to being finished
I think
without
you
ever
mean
actually hitting it.
Asymptotic. That's all right.
Oh right, yeah, sorry.
I think you mean
Forgot
asymptotic.
My math terms.
It's not symptotic.
The VFX are done. The music is almost done. JP's finishing up this week.
Cool.
And then our sound guy gets back into town at the end of this week, and I send him the music, and then he has everything he needs to finish that. And then she just has to make one more pass in the color, and I have to add titles, and we're doing that next week. So maybe the end of next week. But I feel like I've been saying
Yeah,
that
maybe the
repeatedly for
end
like
of
a
next
month or
week.
two now.
I think it's
so-
great because you can just leave like the status constantly on, like in the end of next week, and you never have to change it. It's like Joe Crab Shack, free beer tomorrow. Like,
Yeah. So we're getting close. We're getting very close. I'm excited for it to finally be done. And then I'm almost done with my second script for the
the batch
the
production.
sketches. Yeah.
I'm almost done with my first script. I can debut the title. It is Comic Cops. The parking fine rises.
Oh, good. I can't wait. I'm excited to read that one. Yeah. Anything else? We have like 5 minutes or so
Okay,
left.
I looked up the Chinese thing.
Yeah.
So it was originally like an Arabic story that was translated to French in 1001 Arabian Nights, but the setting for the story of Aladdin was in China. Like
Okay.
it said
So
it took
just-
place in a Chinese village, and Aladdin was like a Chinese dude.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting. It said a peninsula between a Chinese kingdom and an Indian kingdom.
So I get it. That's like us saying it happened in the faraway land of Britain, right? It's like
Except like, yeah, okay, whatever.
it's disassociating it from our culture by making it weird.
So the real issue is that everyone needs to be mad at the original Aladdin. And that's fine. I'm fine with that.
yeah,
But this
yeah.
movie really doesn't deserve it.
Well,
I
a
mean-
lot of the problems will be fixed by having real people play the people in the film,
I
because a
agree.
lot of a lot of the background characters
Oh,
are sort of caricatures.
It is. Oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead because mine's a topic change.
I was just gonna say I rewatched some of like the songs from the original animated movie after we saw it, and it's weird how physically empty the animation looks compared to the live action one.
Right, I bet that's true.
Well, of course, that's Bollywood.
'Cause-
Bollywood is every.
Well, it's just
every
the
second-
backgrounds in the animation are
Right.
just solid colors because it's animated. So anything that you would
Right.
put in the background, you have to draw.
It's
so
a-
they
it's-
didn't.
Right.
super
I was also
interesting.
shocked at the lack of I don't know, strong design in the animated film, because a lot of it you associate with Arab palaces and stuff, beautiful I don't want to like intricate floral motifs and stuff like that.
The
Like
word
they're really
arabesque comes to
geometric.
mind.
Yeah, that's right.
It's definitely in the movie.
And
Yeah.
in the movie form, but they corrected it because it's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of blank space. I
Yeah.
don't know if this is true, but I think the original Aladdin was made by like the B Studio. But
Yeah,
I'm making that up.
Oh,
but
really?
the
The
animation
super-
is not that good.
the
Like
super
Jasmine's eyes
interesting
are
thing-
often like pointing different directions.
Interesting.
The super interesting thing about,
Yeah.
about all the Disney movies is going back and looking at which ones were made by their A team and their B team.
Oh, I didn't know they
Lion
had
King
that.
was made by their B team.
Really?
Because they didn't think it was going to be a big success. And their B team just accidentally just knocked it
Did a
out
really
of the
good
park.
job, yeah.
Like, actually, the thing I'm most interested about the CGI remake is like I watched side by side comparisons of the two, and it just really made me want to watch the animated one again.
Right. I mean, the animated one was
so
so
beautiful.
good. Yeah.
I have an important note that I've only been telling men,
Okay.
but I find it personally a thing. So with the live action remakes, and
Oh.
I this has
thing.
brought up different feelings for different people. But okay, so as a child growing up with Disney movies, a huge part of like my sexual awakening as a woman was Disney princes,
Okay.
like specifically Eric, who is pretty much everyone's.
I
Because
have
Eric is a
heard-
heartthrob.
I've heard corresponding tales from men, not about princes.
Yeah, no, okay, but like I think that's fair. Like we grew up with them, and they like they're all like consistently different and interesting, and like promise things like happily ever after. And so after watching Aladdin, it like struck me like halfway through the movie, they're gonna start bringing to life all of these animated, handsome young princes that were like a huge nostalgia factor and part of like my growing up as a girl, and turning them into real people. And I'm like fawning over him all the same way again. Like I want a poster. He's so handsome. He looks just like the character. And I was like I felt like 10 again, and like crushing on all of these like prince boys. And I'm
See,
Aladdin himself was perfect. He
This
also
is-
sounds exactly the same.
Right.
and for different people,
good.
for different reasons, the Beast was a big part of their
Right.
sexual awakening, who is now also a like a real life kind of character
This is
thing.
interesting to me because like one of the earliest notes on writing I ever have in my head is how uninteresting so many of the Disney princes are.
Oh yeah, they're
I mean,
boring.
like Aladdin is of course a main character, and the Beast is
Right.
interesting. But like outside, like so, Eric never thought about Eric twice.
Oh, but he's so handsome,
or, like,
man.
It eventually reaches its absolute pit, I think, in Hunchback of Notre Dame with Phoebus. Phoebus is only one-liners. He doesn't have two sentences that connect.
I don't know this character at all.
Phoebus
blonde
is
one?
fun. Yeah, he's
got
the
got
blonde
helmet.
one.
He looks kind of like John Smith.
Yeah,
from,
yeah, yeah.
from
Yeah, he's
Pocahontas.
all quips. Yeah,
but
like
he,
you just said.
Because he's the second male lead, because
Right.
Quasimodo's. But I think calling Quasimodo a prince is a little bit.
He was
Right,
not
I mean,
part of my
Phoebus
sexual awakening.
Phoebus is clearly the prince there. I like this clipping.
Phoebus gets the girl, and it's
That's
like,
true. He does. That was sad.
I mean, yeah, it shows you about
Not as sad as
loss
the actual
and
book.
stuff. Whatever.
Not only is
Yeah.
Prince Eric boring, he's useless.
I mean,
He
he's
does-
the
he
he's the
ruins
whole
everything.
impetus for the plot, which
Or-
ruins
yeah.
Ariel. Like it's like
Yeah.
a bad plot. Like it's not a good plot
Well,
line.
so
Like
it's-
change
His
for love.
dimples and swoopy hair.
Yeah, the
actually-
hair is cute, and I like Disney. Like I can remember fixating as a child on teeth.
Like, so,
being
like-
like, even though they have like mono teeth, like white teeth, like as a block, like I remember thinking like, oh, his smile is handsome or whatever,
is a
and that's
big
like the
thing for
only
me.
thing that like sticks out to me. Like except Aladdin's voice, I like Disney Prince voice.
Me
Yeah.
too.
There's also-
Okay, this is a big thing. James Marsden is a real life Disney prince, and
Yeah,
I have been
that's
obsessed
true.
with him my whole life because he has Disney prince teeth. I
It's just
swear.
it's actually because
That's true.
Again, I've also rethought that every time I see James Marsden in something, I go, "Oh, poor boy," because he's always because there's a character called the Teddy Ruxpin, right? Which is it's a character trope where it's like the good guy who's like the white knight who doesn't get the girl because
Oh.
the main character is more interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
And so that's his exact character in both.
He literally plays Teddy in Westworld.
Right, he's literally a Teddy Ruxpin, and that's by design because he's a host who's designed to play
Right.
the character that you steal the girl from. But also he plays Cyclops against Wolverine.
And he plays the prince in Ella Enchanted, and she does not end up with him.
Right, so it's
Right.
like poor James Marsden has always been he's been like a B prince every single time.
I'll take him.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the actual podcast now.
All right.
Thanks for listening to another one of these, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.